Today we're going to talk about the 6 reasons we chose to move to France.
And 1 year later, if the expectations or the reality lived up to the expectation. My name is Raina.
I'm Jason.
And we are Baguette bound. 2/3. We have a daughter also who's in middle school of an American family living in the French countryside. And we tell you about how this all works, tips and tricks of how we got here, and a little bit of what we learned along the way that hopefully might be helpful for you too. Okay.
Top 6 reasons.
Yes.
Let's go. Number 1.
Language.
The beautiful French language.
Yes. If you are gonna move to a foreign country and need to learn a language, at least for me, it has not been easy. And so we figured it needs to be a language we really want to learn. This was one of the big reasons we actually didn't choose Portugal. I was not as excited about learning Portuguese. No offense.
True. Nope.
But I was much more enthusiastic about
So France is widely spoken all over the world.
Right.
It's a beautiful language. So that was what we thought going into it. Now a year later, how are we doing?
Still think it's a beautiful language. It's not easy, but
really challenging.
Yeah. But it's like one of the most rewarding things I think I may have done in my adult life, because we're in an environment where every little bit that you learn helps make your whole experience richer, right? Interacting with your neighbors, being able to have easier conversations when you're shopping at the store. Like it's like a whole world is unlocking in levels as you learn more. And I don't know that I've experienced anything quite like that in my adult life.
It's been incredible to go from mixing up bonjour, merci, au revoir at the grocery store.
It was that bad.
To having short, simple conversations. We have a long way to go, but it really feels like a victory when you come home and you're like, guess what? I talked to somebody today in French.
It does, yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. And people have been so incredibly helpful, which I'm super grateful for. So don't be afraid. People are super helpful.
They are.
Number 2.
French food.
Oh, I don't even know that we need to explain this one much, right? This one's pretty famous. But the thing I think that has surprised me is just overall, it's not just like Michelin starred fine dining restaurants, right?
Which is great, yeah.
But it's everyday food at the supermarket, the actual like farmers markets, the bakeries, every
small family-run restaurants where food is simple and cheap and just delicious.
Yeah, it's just the quality across the board, like the value I feel like we get in the quality of like fresh, delicious food. It still amazes me. So that part of it has really exceeded expectations.
Yeah. We had high hopes and we've exceeded that.
Yeah, totally. Next was we chose France for the location in Europe. You know, it's a big hexagon surrounded by a lot of other countries. And we were hoping that this would make it easier to travel, you know, to see other places while we were here. So how's that worked?
It's worked out just like we thought. It's been really easy to get around by train. We've had a car here out in the country, so we've taken road trips.
You kind of have to have one, actually.
We've taken train trips, we've taken some short flights. We've been kind of all over Western Europe, and it's pretty easy to get around.
Yeah. I agree with what Jason said, but I also disagree just a little bit because we live in Southwest France, about an hour and a half outside of Bordeaux. And part of the reason we chose the French countryside deliberately, and we will talk about that in another video because it's kind of its whole own subject. But we also thought, okay, Bordeaux is a major city. It has a major airport. We are gonna be able to get everywhere. And then, you know, of course the trains across Europe are also like amazing to travel on, not very expensive and super comfortable. And yeah. So I have been surprised though that at least in France, one thing you need to know if you're gonna live away from Paris is that the transportation is very centralized to Paris. So you can get places, but often you have to go through Paris on a train or a plane to then get to the next place, or it's just a lot more expensive. You know, the times aren't quite as convenient. So that was one thing I didn't expect, is for really the link all the way out, like to the countryside or even to, you know, Bordeaux, which is a major city, to be as, what's the word? That there's kind of like, it's an
extra step.
There's an extra step often. Yeah. And I think it's worth it to live where we live because I like it so much, but that was just something I didn't calculate for. So that's made it just a little more challenging.
Yeah. Number 5.
Yeah. Oh, you skipped.
I did.
We're on number 4.
We're on number 4. I'm excited about number 5. But
Clearly,
let's go back to
you're
number
gonna have
4.
to wait though. Okay, so number 4 was the culture and lifestyle. I mean, we obviously came from kind of a middle-class American lifestyle. For most of the time we've been together, 2 people were working. We've had some time where only one person was working and one person was a stay-at-home parent, but
urban settings,
activities, suburban and urban, yeah. So just the idea of the, joie de vie, the slowing down a little bit with the lifestyle, enjoying your meals, your days, your friends, your family, all those things.
More focus on friends and family and just enjoying the moment that you're doing things instead of charging through to get to the whatever is that next
What is
thing
next on the schedule today?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure, I feel like, often for that in the US.
Yeah. It was a little hard to adjust to at first. There were some moments where we're like, what are we doing? Let's keep moving. Why is this taking so long?
It's hard to, I mean, that culture, our own native culture, is deep-seated there, but it's definitely been what we imagined, and really even more, I think, like the
kind of pervades everything.
Yeah.
Whether it's meals, shopping, your work schedule, it's everywhere.
It is. And
it's fabulous.
Oh yeah. It's funny, it's almost like a love-hate relationship sometimes, because I love that slowness, and then there's also moments where you're like, okay, I mean, you might be waiting in line at a shop, and like the person who is interacting with the shopkeeper and the shopkeeper, they've got all the time in the world.
There's no urgency.
There's no urgency, which is amazing when it's your turn. Sometimes waiting for that, you're like, all right, we've got things to do and places to be. But it's the thing that I love. And it just adds a richness to life when you're spending time with people and at community events that sometimes was missing in our US life. You're not running through just to get to the next thing, like Jason said. So
we've had language, we've had food, we've had location, we've had culture.
You want to know what number 5 is now, don't you?
I may have oversold it a little.
He's so excited. No, I do not think you are overselling this one. It's important. All right, what is it? Drum roll.
Healthcare.
Healthcare. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I've got a long-term disease. I'm diabetic. I've been diabetic my whole adult life. So healthcare was a big deal. It was really important. Going into the adventure, we knew that healthcare, we could see the stats. We saw life expectancy. We saw costs. We saw the high rate of insurance in France. So that makes you feel, hey, healthcare is good there. And a lot of the statistical things, it surpasses a lot of other countries in the world. So it looks great. And
so what's your experience been? Because you have interacted more than I have.
Yeah, so we've kind of done all the things. We've seen dentists, we've seen primary care doctors, we've seen diabetic specialists, we've filled prescriptions for everybody. I've got repeated prescriptions and had to get devices. So I feel like I've done it all now. It's new. All right, there's a new process. It's different. It took some adjustment. I've been extremely happy with the care I've received. We found doctors. We found doctors that spoke excellent English or spoke well enough English to have a conversation with and treat you with. Google Translate might come in handy sometimes for devices and terms.
Everything.
Some things that just don't make sense.
Yeah.
But they're all figure-outable.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been a great experience. I've been extremely happy with the quality of care that I've received, with the amount of care, with how easy it is to see doctors and specialists. All of my prescriptions have been really easy to fill. The costs are extremely low. It just kind of feels easy. And it took several months to kind of figure out, what is this? What do we do? What form do I fill out? How do I sign up for insurance?
Yeah, and we're gonna make a completely separate video about that, because that is its whole own thing. But what I just want you to know is, like, if you are coming to France and you have medical concerns, like at least our experience so far has been very good.
Yeah.
And I actually sleep better at night here with French healthcare, honestly, than I did in the US.
I do too. I feel better about my care here than I did with great insurance in the US. So
yeah, and we didn't know what to expect, because we've lived in the US all of our lives and had sort of, been taught that you should be really nervous about socialized medicine in any way. So we weren't sure what to expect.
Yeah.
And
it's been great.
Yeah. Okay, visas.
Number 6.
Number 6 is visas. The reason we ended up here in France.
So if you don't know, visa is something you need to legally to live in another country. If you're not a citizen and you want to stay long-term, you need a long-term visa to be there. So, the visa process for France?
The rules of what's required are pretty straightforward. There's a fantastic book that we will link to in the description, which we used, well, Jason really, he handled all of this, like as a guide to, exactly how to check all the boxes. But that is the thing about the French system, is as long as you do what they ask, check the boxes, give them all the papers. We knew we could qualify. Some of the other countries that we considered, it felt very fuzzy and it was really hard to get information, and we, didn't necessarily want to hire an immigration attorney at that point, and it felt more complicated in the sense that it was harder to understand how to navigate the process. Not every country, but just the ones, some of the few alternative ones that we were considering specifically.
Yeah.
And the renewal process has been pretty straightforward as far as what we do.
So we got a 1-year visa.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had to renew it at the end of the first year,
right,
which we've done now.
Right.
Again, that renewal process, also straightforward, a lot of information online, processes online to do, really convenient, really clear on what we're supposed to be able to do. So I've been pleasantly surprised with that as well.
Yeah, still for us, the process in general has been remarkably smooth, especially because we have heard other people who have had a lot more bumps in the road, but luckily, we haven't so far. So we'll hope that just continues.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's our 6 reasons, right?
It is.
Language, food, location, culture, healthcare, and visa.
We missed one.
There's something missing.
Yeah, there's a bonus.
Oh yeah.
The baguettes.
Baguettes. Yeah.
This was an unexpected, I'm like waving it around.
We knew
like
baguettes were a thing.
Right.
We had high hopes coming here.
Yeah. But sometimes you see like stereotypes, right? The guy on his bike with the baguette, and you're like, for real? It's for real. The baguettes for breakfast, baguettes for lunch, baguettes with chocolate, baguettes at dinner.
I never thought I wanted bread out of a vending machine. But you can get that here.
Oh yeah.
They're good.
Yeah, the baguette vending machine. When we first lived in a village, it was too small to have a boulangerie, but there was still fresh bread every day because the baker in the village over would deliver it to the vending machine. It was amazing.
We weren't big bread eaters in
no,
the US.
No.
Didn't eat bread very often, but since we've been here, every month it seems like we're buying more baguettes. And how many baguettes a day can you buy?
Well, when we first got here, we'd go to the store and there would be families with many, like
so many baguettes.
6, 7 baguettes. Like Jason said, that it was like firewood. And it was true. We were like, what do people do? And then Juliana spent the night with some French friends and she's like, everybody has their own baguette each day. It's labeled in their house, so no one eats yours. So yeah, it's a real part of French life. And we have come to embrace it, and I have a whole new appreciation for the humble baguette as part of our daily lives. So it's another point for France. All right, that's a wrap for real.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, subscribe, and you can find more at www.baguettebound.com. Otherwise, à bientôt.
See you soon.
All right, bye.